Hey there, Trekkers and Trekkies. So, got another book for you today. Hope that you will get a kick out of this the way that I do. It was one that I'd actually not heard of till relatively recently. And I was browsing around online and I found it on the website that I like to buy used books from. And it's like, okay, let me get that. Let me check that out. I've never, I think I'd seen it on a few other listings and that kind of thing, but I'd never actually seen it, so I ordered it. And this book, it is a trip. It is awesome. It is called The Worlds of the Federation. It came out in 1989, so that means it had all of original series and the animated series. Would have had the first. It definitely would have had the first 4 films. It would. Honestly, I don't think there's anything in here that relates to Star Trek V. So I don't know if they didn't have any information yet on Star Trek V, or if they just didn't find anything relevant, or if it was just, whatever. But it does mean that it also has the first couple of seasons of Next Generation. And see, in the picture on the cover actually kind of conveys that. It actually has the Enterprise D, which here's a bigger version of that picture on the inside, and we'll get to it in just a few minutes. But yeah, so this was written and illustrated by Shane Johnson, with the cover art by Don Ivan Ponchats. I'm not entirely certain how that name is pronounced. I'll let you all look at it in just a second. Apparently this book originally cost $15. I think I paid about $2 or $3 for it. So, got my blood wine. So here we go, and yeah, there's the name of the cover artist, Ponchatas. I'm not entirely sure, but if you do a role playing game for Star Trek, you want this book. It is a fun, just informational book for sure. But as far as the information in it, if you're running a role-playing game, sort of like a D&D style thing, and you're wanting to come up with some stuff as far as like character creation and stuff like that, this book would be awesome for that. And you'll see why. So the preface is supposedly written by Lieutenant Commander Data, who is listed as the science officer of the Enterprise D, which is an interesting thing. I guess a lot of the fans in those early days, despite the fact that they do clearly stated on the show that he is the chief of operations, that a lot of them considered him to be the science officer. Here we have the Planetary classification system, which this is kind of neat. It gives us the alphabetical things. Class M as the surface is silicate water, atmosphere oxidizing, description geologically active, example Terra or Earth. I would be curious to see how consistent this is with the newer information. Eventually we'll get to the star logs stuff, and maybe I'll try and remember to compare it to that. Here we have, this is the page key, which explains the layout on each page as we get into it. There will be this number will be the order that they were admitted to the Federation of Planets. This is their data source symbol or planetary emblem. There's the listing of the Federation catalog name, planetary classification, indigenous name. So apparently Andor, or Andoria as we know it, is Fesoan. Its primary star is Epsilon Indi, and its galactic coordinates is 25.8, 60.1, and negative 2.4. This shows the system profile, making it the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th planet out of 9. Says that it has 7 moons. It says how many moons it'll have if it has more than 4. And then a continental survey map at the bottom, which that's all good and cool. But you're going to see once we turn to the first page why I find it so amusing and interesting. So obviously, number 1, Earth, Terra, Sol System. This is the good old third planet from the sun. And here we have the map of the planet, as we all fairly well recognize it. But then we've got over here this diagram of what a standard human looks like. Although I suppose it should say standard human male, because those features are definitely masculine, mostly. It's not exactly androgynous. And yes, we're going to have something like this for every species in this book. And that's what gets kind of fun about this. So we have the Vulcans. Supposedly this is a map of Vulcan, which this is kind of a reverse. This is land and these are oceans, or lakes. These are the oceans of Vulcan. There's not many. It's a very dry planet. And then we have a standard Vulcan. And then we have the Tellarites. Again, here's their planet. Its name is apparently Miracht, located at the star of 61 Cygni. It was kind of funny to me that there was a lot of work back in the day to try and show Tellarites as having hooves for feet, and still even in Enterprise, they still had regular feet, human-like feet. We could always say that they just wore human-like shoes or boots to hide the fact that they had hooves. But Andorians, this guy looks like our example of an Andorian straight from original series. Centaurians were number 5. And I'm not going to go through every page like this, but we do get some little guys like this. This is an Alphan reptilian biped. Alpha 3 was apparently the 6th planet brought into the Federation. And then there is the vegan Scoras of Vega 9. And if you aren't seeing this does say that they are between 3.5 and 4.5 meters tall, meaning that they're about 2 to 3 times taller than a standard human. Most humans are only about 1.5 to about 1.75 meters. You get a few, obviously, that are 2 meters. You get your basketball players like Akeem Olajuwon. I think he's a little over 2 meters. You've got Deneb 2, 4, and 5 all grouped together, and they show us the Denebian slime devil. Now, I'm not actually sure if they're indicating... Yeah, it does. Yeah, in the description it talks about that these are just an animal on the planet. So they're not actually showing us what the Denebians look like. But yeah, there's this walking tree species. And imagine using some of this stuff. And see, here we've got the planet Izar, which has the Memory Alpha archive. So if you're ever on the Memory Alpha website, now you know what the building looks like where that's apparently supposed to be. But yeah, this is okay. The Cations, the cat people, which is kind of cool. I love these drawings, and the maps kind of give us a fun background as well. I'm just going to start skipping through a bit, showing you a few of these drawings and everything. I keep hitting a lot of the very humanoid species. Oh, here we go. There's something a little more alien. The Aurelians. Those are an interesting one. That was from the animated series. Medusan, electromagnetic container. Of course, Medusans are sort of a cloud-like species. But yeah, I mean, this would be really useful if you were running a role-playing game, because you could get your information, your stats, you could sort of build it out from what's listed here, and it would be really cool. That was a Saurian there. Fabrini, a lot of original series aliens in here. Betazoid, Next Generation, obviously, Binars, Benzites, Phloesians, another animated series one that was really cool. Now, that was just the Starfleet or Federation section. Then you get into the neutral or independent worlds, which is where we get some more aliens. We've got the Argon Aquans. We've got Spiridian dragons, Capellans. But I'm going there. Let's skip past this section for just 1 second. I'm going to show you a few more. We get a few more interesting species here in the back. We do eventually get to the section on planets that are enemies of the Federation. Oh, this is a fun one, the Capharian insectoid. Can't help but wonder. Oh, and then yeah, here we're in the section now, I guess, of enemies of the Federation. You got the Klingon, the Lactron. You've got the M113 creature, the Salt Vampire, Triskelon, Ecosians. Let's see, there's the Telosians. You've got the giant Taurians, the Bigfoot people. There's the Guardian of Forever. Another building. These are gonna the Mugato. So let me flip back here. They do have this little section in the middle of color paintings, photographs, however you want to refer to them, that are really, really good, really impressive. I mean, these are the kind of thing that if you wanted, you could, print them out and put them on, hang them on the wall. They're really, really nice. I am going to flip around a little bit because there's one particular picture I want to save for last, and you'll see why. The last page, well, if I can get this to work, shows some of the vegetation, which, if you remember, this plant was actually one that was seen sort of in the original series, that it was a plant that Sulu was trying to raise. On this page, we've got a lot of interesting animals. We've got the Selah and the Lamatia. I don't remember if that's how that's pronounced. They're both aliens or creatures from Vulcan. But then here is that big page I was talking about that has the fold out of all of this real pretty art. This would be cool to have as a poster, actually. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. And what's nice is on the inside of the back cover, it actually does have a little guide showing you which species is which. Of course, most fans now could probably, we should all be able to tell you who a Gorn is or a Klingon is. But I want to show you what is the second page of this section now. Again, up there we got a Targ. We got full color version of the Danubian Slime Devil. And we got the Mugato, which that's a fascinating picture on its own. A little on the goofy side, but we're going to end with this. It is the salt vampire, the M113 creature. Apparently wants to be drawn like one of your French girls. It is laid out in the most seductive, goofy, silly pose, and I love it. I am really tempted to scan this and like Photoshop a couch, one of those. They're not called couches. They're called. I can't remember what those types of couches are called. That back in the Victorian era that the women would sit on, and fainting couch. I think that might be what it's called. So, anyways, I'm so tempted to do that with this because it's just so ridiculous. But like I said, if you just want a fun book that has information about your favorite Star Trek worlds, you should definitely check this book out. Like I said, you can find used copies of this all over the internet. Go to abebooks.com, a great website. No, I don't have like an affiliate thing, not yet anyways. I'll have to check into that at some point. Maybe people tell me I should. But if you run a role-playing game for Star Trek people, you should get this book. If you are an actor who runs a certain Star Trek role-playing group, you should call me and let me share my book with you and we can play. So anyways, that is it for this week. I hope you enjoyed looking at Worlds of the Federation, and I will see you next time.
If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Also, you can support the show by signing up on Patreon, or head over to Zazzle to pick up prints of my artwork, prints on canvas, t-shirts, and other merch. You can find me on social media. For more information and updates on the channel, all info is below. If you didn't enjoy the video, why are you still here? Do you want a song? Ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, them, 3 bags full. 1 for the master, who can screw himself. You can listen to somebody else.